My name is Artur and I'm doing the human rights campaign. The working title is about China Uyghur camps. That's my slogan and that's my logo. My logo is supposed to represent, it's representing two things. So the keys symbolize freedom and prison jail bars. So the reason for that is obviously the Uyghur people in China right now are being imprisoned against their will. So that's why there's that's the reason for the bars. And the keys represent freedom because obviously with my campaign I'm trying to help them and spread the message on how my target audience can help set the Uyghur people or help them to be free. And then the star and the moon in the middle represents the Uyghur flag. So the formats I want to do are posters and radio broadcasts. The duration for the radio podcast will be like around 1 or 2 minutes. I want to maybe do it longer because I want to explain the whole situation. But then again, I also want to keep it short to keep the audience engaged. And then the amount of posters, I want to do about 1 or 2 different posters for my campaign, and I want to spread them across London. However, I think advertising them on social media will be way more effective because of my certain target audience, as well as obviously posters on social media are like free to post. And these formats are literally perfect. They're perfectly engaging because majority of people nowadays don't have time to stop and look at campaigns. Therefore, having an on-the-go advertisement like posters and radios are great because posters can be viewed anywhere from transport, social media, and radios could be listened to in cars. Aims and objectives is to spread awareness and see a clear problem of the supposed Uyghur ethnic cleansing going on in China with my campaign. And the aim is to spread a message that resonates with the target audience, that leaves a lasting impression. And I'm going to try and do that by designing a campaign that is memorably visual. And then also I'm going to try to bring justice to the Uyghur minority ethnicity. And I'm trying to make my target audience realize that they shouldn't take their ethnicity for granted. My slogan and my message, so the mini message basically is to stop China Nazis, save Uyghur. That's the slogan. It's basically saying stop China from doing the genocide, against the genocide, and to save the people that are being imprisoned. And the main message is to inform and spread awareness about the situation so that enough people will share, making the government act and the United Nations to act, so to finally close this whole accusation and case forever. Also within my post or within my campaigns, I'm going to include solutions to what people can do, to what my target audience can do, and that is to write to their local MP, do parliament petitions, surveys, donate, and obviously share and spread awareness. So I feel strongly about this campaign because I know that lives could be at stake, and even though this whole thing is basically an accusation, even if there's a chance of Uyghur people being imprisoned, we need to act because everyone deserves basic human rights, and that's why I'm doing this campaign. And for my objectives, the elements that I'm going to include in my poster and radio will be, for poster will be like such things like a website link for people to find out more, and I'm going to influence the message visually with photography and editing techniques. And for the radio, I'm trying to get an interview and a conversation conversation going to keep my target audience engaged, and things like leaked audio segments will entice the audience and make them want to listen. So I did primary and secondary research. So for my primary, I did a questionnaire, and this was filled out by my target audience. So for example, I did, one of the questions was which slogan do they prefer, and 50%, so the majority chose Stop China Nazi, China Nazi Save Uyghur, and then the other question on the right, I asked in what way could my target audience personally participate, which gave me a clear understanding of how I can develop my campaign ideas and what my target audience actually preferred. And for my secondary research, I researched 3 similar campaigns to what I'm doing about human rights. For example, one of the campaigns being Amnesty International. So there's a mini analysis I can do real quick. So the poster is unique because of the imagery, such as the guy's face with a blindfold over him and his mouth being zipped. So, and then next, obviously, the photo is in black and white, which is making it more serious. And it catches the audience attention because us humans, we aren't used to seeing the world in monochrome. So this secondary research further developed my campaign ideas, because I want to create that same impact as this campaign did, and which was like to make people feel guilty if they don't help out. So for example, this campaign, it kind of forced people to do something, and it didn't ask, it demanded, and that's kind of what I want to do, and just make people feel guilty if they don't help out. So my synopsis of my idea for the radio broadcast will explain the circumstance on what's going on in Xinjiang's re-educational camps. Additionally, it will feature an interview from a guest who's experienced their brother being taken away by the Chinese government and put into these genocidal camps where they're trying to make the Uyghur ethnicity extinct. Then I will include leaked audio segment coming from inside of the prisons. And then finally, to end the broadcast, I will give a solution on how my target audience could support this situation by donating, spreading awareness, filing, emailing their local MP, and etc. The rationale, I believe that my campaign will be successful because I'm using my own creativity. It will influence my message and draw attention to the audience because the campaign will include a personal editing style with original sound that will be convincing to listen to, a visual symbolic logo, and unique compositional photography that I will include in my poster. The feasibility, I believe this is possible because I'll be using college software to edit my radio broadcast and design my posters. Software such as Premiere Pro, Lightroom, Photoshop, etc. When doing the interview, I will be using my microphone that I have at home with my PC set up, and I'll use some type of communicating app such as Discord to talk, whilst using an audio recorder such as GeForce Experience to record and capture the audio coming from my microphone. Also, I like to use Sony Vegas that I already have installed on my computer, that I'm experienced with as well, and that will help me edit sound effects for my radio broadcast. And lastly, I've got a timetable which I will fill out soon that will help me organise and plan my steps to success, and that will time manage my whole campaign. My target audience is aimed for young adulthood, and for the young adulthood, the demographics ages between 16 and 24, gender both male and female. The audience classification, because majority of my of the young adulthood are students, the audience classification would be class A, also known as upper middle class. Why have I picked them? It's because they know how to use social media, so it will be an efficient way of spreading awareness. And not only do they know how to use social media, but they're mature, so that will allow them to take the information seriously and make them interested, and hopefully they'll do something. And they'll most likely know how to write to their MP. So locations. So from my primary research, I've gathered that the best locations for my posters and for my target audience will be somewhere such as train stations, bus stops, roadsides, on tubes, and basically mostly transport, because they're getting from work, from school, from colleges. For my radio broadcast, the radio stations I will use are things like Radio 3, LBC, BBC 1, 1 Extra, BBC 2. So I'm going to be considering all of these options because of my primary research. For my lighting on my poster, I'll use studio lighting, such as key light, fill lights, and I'll use plain reflectors for the soft light that will portray my subject's frightened face. And I'll use hard lights to add some complexity to the photo, as I want the background to be harsh. And for my radio sound, I want it. There's going to be non-diegetic sound, like sound effects from the internet and music, and there's going to be diegetic sounds, voices such as mine and the guests that I'll be interviewing. The equipment I'll need is camera, I'll need a studio and props, and then software such as Lightroom, Photoshop. And then for the radio I'll need a microphone, a recording app, and Premiere Pro. So for my social media, my radio podcast campaign will be uploaded on YouTube, while my poster campaign on the other hand will be presented on Instagram. I'm very experienced with both of these social media platforms. I think these platforms will be a suitable way to present my campaigns, not only because of the formats that I'm currently doing, but because of the social media algorithms that these social media platforms have. For instance, Instagram is a great way to spread a post around because of its hashtags, which could make one post get out there way more than others. And for YouTube, the algorithm is basically a real-time feedback loop that tailors videos to each viewer's different interests. So for example, if it decides which videos will get suggested to individual users, my best bet is to insert my radio audio ad before YouTube videos such as the news, for more people that are interested in those kind of topics. And I was thinking about celebrity endorsements, even though it's a great aspect and a great way to promote stuff, I don't think it's right for my campaign because usually celebrities promote products, and I want my target audience to focus on what matters, not the actual celebrity. Thank you for listening. Any questions?
You said you was going to do an interview. Do you have any ideas on who exactly, or if you have anyone in mind who you're going to interview?
Yeah, so I have one friend that I know, so I'm gonna create a script and try persuade my audience into helping. So yeah.